Hello. Today is a baking day, and we're going to have a great time in the kitchen. And you know what? We're going to do two things. We're going to bake the easiest cake ever that you can have on your table for your family anytime you want it. And it's done just like that. We're also going to put together a loaf of our daily bread. Here's the list of ingredients. You're going to need 1 box of French vanilla cake mix. You can decide which particular brand you want. You're also going to need 1 small box of Jell-O vanilla pudding. Then you're going to want 2 very soft sticks of butter, and you're going to have 1 cup of milk. You'll also need 5 room temperature eggs, 2 teaspoons of vanilla, and you can decide your particular icing. I'm using the Betty Crocker whipped icing. To make this very short, sweet, and efficient, I've also oiled and floured a bundt pan, and this particular bundt pan I really like. Now in this mixing bowl, I'm going to add my cake mix first, and I'm using Betty Crocker, and it's a French vanilla. So let me get some scissors and I'm going to cut that open. So it's not going to take long to do this, I kid you not, in about 10 minutes. Our mix in, and I'm placing anything that needs to be thrown away into the box. I'm just keeping that handy because we will need to refer to the box to make sure that our cooking times are just perfect. Now these sticks of butter I left out overnight to make sure that they were nice and soft. If you don't do that, then you're going to need to microwave, but I wanted everything to just be ready to go. So I'm putting those 2 sticks of butter in, and I promise you I could almost mix this cake by hand, but we're not. Now we need our 5 eggs, and in this particular case I'm not even going to worry about trying to just put in 1 egg at a time, but I'm going to go get a separate bowl because I think I need to crack the eggs separately just to make sure that there are no shells, and I'll do that. I'm throwing the eggshell over into the sink so I can dispose of it. So there we go, there's the other 4 eggs. Let me wash my hands and get them cleaned and wiped off, and then we'll be ready to go. Also, I'm going to try to do it with this whisk, but you know what, that's not working out so well, so let's try another tool in a minute. I think I'm gonna have to go and get the beaters for the mixer anyway. Now let's add the milk. I should have stayed focused. I'm going to use my cap, and I'm going to put in 2 caps of vanilla. And this is pure vanilla. This is Watkins actually. I'm also going to put in the 1 box of vanilla pudding. And the vanilla pudding is just going to make it very moist and just give it a good taste and a good texture. So all of that is in there. And I'm placing all of the disposables in the box. Okay, well, I'm trying to do it with our whisk, but that's not working out too well. Okay, don't make the same mistake I did by trying to do this with the whisk. Just use your mixer, your hand mixer, or even do it by hand. I think I would have been better off with a wooden spoon. But anyway, we're going to mix this up until it is absolutely creamy. And it's going to be a beautiful, beautiful batter. So that's a beautiful batter. I'm going to play a little music in the background while we mix because it's going to take a minute or two, but you do not want to overmix. As soon as you see that this batter is beautiful and creamy, stop. Because if you overmix it, your cake is going to be tough, and that's not what you want. So the batter is ready. I just need to get a spatula, and we're going to put this deliciousness into the bundt pan. This is going to be great. So let's get it in there, and I'm turning the pan as I pour it in so that I have a little bit on each side, and then I'll take the spatula and smooth it out. But I want to make sure that I get everything out of my bowl. I think I'm just about there. Okay, so I'm going to use that spatula and just smooth things out. And I do want to make sure that I'm not leaving a lot on my spatula. So I'm using a knife to just scrape it off and also keep my pan clean. So there we go, we got it in the bundt pan, and I'm kind of giving it just a little bit of a press for two reasons. Number one, I want a nice, pretty smooth top, and number two, I want to make sure that there are no air bubbles. And you could take your knife and kind of tap on it around the side, or you could just do what I'm doing, give it a little shake. But there it is, ready to go in a 350 oven. Our daily bread is so easy. It's a one bowl mix. Everything goes in that one bowl. It has to have time to rise. Put it in the refrigerator, and you don't have to bake it today. You can bake it tomorrow or the next day. But the good thing is that you can take out, and within an hour you can have a fresh loaf of bread ready for dinner or for lunch. So let's work on that bread. Now in the bowl I have 3 cups of all-purpose flour, and I also have in 2 teaspoons and a half of yeast, active dry yeast, and I have honey. I'm going to be placing that into our milk and water mixture, which is 3/4 of water, 3/4 cup of water, and 3/4 cup of milk. And that's going to give us a nice 1.5 cups of liquid, and I'm going to stir that honey in really, really good so that when I put it into the batter, it's going to disperse easily and quickly. So don't be in a rush, just make sure you get it off your spoon. So I'm making a well in the center. I've also added in about 1.5 teaspoons of salt. So I'm pouring this in. This is going to make the softest batter ever. So I'm going to get my wooden spoon, and we're going to start to mix. We're going to do a large portion of this, in fact almost all of this by hand. So just take your wooden spoon and you're going to stir until you get a nice shaggy ball of dough. So I'm just going to give it time, and it's still early in the day, very, very early in the day, because I like to get up early and work. So I'm going to add just a little smidget of oil. I'm using safflower oil, and then I'm going to sprinkle a little bit on my work surface just so it doesn't stick too bad, and because it's a pretty moist dough. So let's pour that out onto the surface, and with clean hands you're going to just start to turn it, and you're folding. Fold and press, fold and press. And you're going to start to feel the stickiness on your hands, and as you do that, just get a little touch of flour and sprinkle, because it really takes about 3.5 cups of flour, but that half cup you'd rather knead in, so that if you don't need the whole half cup, that's perfect. So we're going to get this all kneaded to where it's such a soft dough. Oh man, it's going to be it's so easy to work with. And what we're going to do, I'll tell you now, is that once we get this kneaded pretty well, I'm going to knead for about 10 minutes, and then we're going to place it into an oiled bowl, the same bowl that we mixed it up in. I've added a little bit of oil into that bowl, and we're going to just leave it in there for about an hour, give it time to double in size. If your house is too cool, it will probably take a little longer than an hour, but you do want it to double in size. And once that happens, you're going to put the top on it, or leave the top on it, and put it into the refrigerator for at least an hour. It can be more, it can be a day even. You could do this the night before and then take it out the next day, and give yourself about an hour before dinner. So here it is, it's risen, and it's ready to go into the refrigerator. Now notice I didn't fasten it all the way down because there's gases. So there's our cake. It's out of the oven, and we're ready to put some icing on. So I have just loosened this icing up with about 15 to 20 seconds in the microwave, and I mixed it up, and we're going to pour it gently over the top of the cake. Man, we are moving today on our baking day. And what's going to happen now, my offset spatula is not here, so I'm going to have to use a knife, old-fashioned way. Once upon a time, that's all you had was your just regular, table knife, and that's what I'm using. Well, I had hoped that the kitchen would stay quiet much longer than what it has, but unfortunately everyone's up and there's just noise everywhere. So you know what, guys, we're going to have to cut this just a tiny bit shorter than I had planned. So I'm going to take my time, finish up icing the cake, and get it under the some protection so it won't dry. And I'm going to show you what it looks like when it's sliced. And this is the first slice out of the cake. Now, to be honest with you, this cake is going to be gone very quickly. And I already know that. People are going to be walking by, taking a slice and walking off to wherever they're going. Now, as far as our daily bread, it is in the refrigerator. And I have added a link so that should you want to see how to finish it up, you can certainly do that, and it will take you all the way through to the very end. So look for that link. It's called Our Daily Bread and Buns, and I think you'll enjoy it. And it's certainly a fun recipe to put together, and your family will just think you have done the best thing ever to serve them fresh bread for whatever meal it is that you like. So, have a blessed and wonderful day.